Hi, I'm Lachelle Atkins, also known as America's Supermom, and I am excited about Go Shop America. This is an opportunity for small business owners to be able to feature their products on TV. So if you are looking for affordable way to distribute your products, and if you're a consumer looking to buy the hottest trends, then I tell you to follow us at Go Shop America.
Well, thank you guys so much for joining us for this special edition of Leadership and Collaboration. I'm so excited to have Mike here with me today. And, we're running a few minutes behind only because I was laughing
because I
with
talk too
the
much.
throwback. No, the throwback that I posted right before this episode, just so people could kind of get a feel for your personality and the great things that you do around, building community and everything. So it was a lot of fun to go back down memory lane. But we're excited to be here today because we are collaborating, not just on a podcast, but we're doing something a little special for Women's History Month. So we're just going to start with introducing ourselves in case you don't know who we are. So I'm Lachelle, also known as America's Supermom, mother of 15 children, and I'm a mental health strategist where I help executive women align their brand with their true identity so that they can shine in the media. So I'm going to let you introduce yourself, Mike.
Okay, thank you for having me follow you, Lachelle. Come on now, nobody follow you. Lachelle. Hey, I haven't watched the Blast from the Past, but thank you for that because you gave me the first good experience on a live stream, and I had the courage to go out there, put on the bucket hat, way crustier than today, if you can imagine. And you changed that for me. So you get the credit or blame for what people see today. So y'all can send the hate mail to her and also compliment. But if you don't know me, I'm Mike Asherbrander, professionally known as the Redneck Connector, and proud and humble leader of the Hounds of Business community. And a long story short, it's just a safe, trust-first community for entrepreneurs, for visionaries, for people who want to be somebody, be their best self, do something special. So me and you, Supermom, is PB and J in the same jar, dadgummit, right? They have it 20 years ago. I'm still talking about it, the squeeze bottle version. So I am so excited to share this with you, to share the opportunity to push up all these amazing women. We got them all, don't we? I'm not going to spill the beans, but we got them all, and all are welcome. If you got the heart, you're ambitious, hey, more the merrier.
I love it. And so my focus really for 2026 is relationships. You can have a lot of viewers, a lot of followers, a lot of connections. But I have found just over the course of my journey as a business owner that it's all about the relationships. And so you and I, we do a lot of talking behind the scenes. We may not always be in the front of the camera with a lot of the things that we discuss, but this is actually how we got this collaboration was simply, having our conversations where we talk offline, actually old school through the telephone.
Telephone, rotary
for
dial phone.
ways
Yeah. Yeah.
for ways that we can help each other and build community and just sharing strategies and things like that. So, what tip would you give people around, building community? Because a lot of people get caught up in the smoke and mirrors of, going viral and all these other things. But what tip would you give people around that?
A wonderful question, and you're right. That relationship is the cheat code that make greater impact in collapsed time frames. We proved that. So on that note, put the horse before the cart. What I mean is, it's us. It's not feel good boo boo. We've had folks like Jesse Dobeck. We've had multiple high level people on the radio show, right? And they all said the same thing. If it wasn't for relationship first, human capital, we wouldn't have generated 50 million in revenue. We wouldn't be ranked top 20 entrepreneur podcast. So it's not woo woo. It's not weird. You can move mountains in compressed time frames by loving on birds of a feather, right? And so
Mhm.
think about it. You've done this forever, way before I came on the scene. And I took that example. So when you love on the right people and you push people up and you give them the clarity, that's my thing. Get clear internal about what you want, not what you were told you want, not what your mama said you want, what you want. even if it's the crazier the better, especially if you're coming to the Supermom and the Hounds, collabs. And then just say, why not me? Because they're like, why me? Why not you? And so just internals, hey, why not? What if? We got a million reasons why we can't. I'm going to challenge everybody listening. Give me one reason you could. Because I don't know if you noticed, but it's the regular folks out there that can relate and make a bigger impact. And if that's you, tune in, bring a friend, because that's my advice. Get clear, get resolute, and surround yourself with people who will push you up and not let you down.
That's awesome. And it just reminds me, like when we first got connected, we actually met online on a podcast for the first time. And you just had a way of totally embracing your brand, your message. And for a lot of people, they kind of fall into the trap of believing that they have to be like somebody else. If you're a motivational speaker, you got to be like Tony Robbins or, Les Brown or something like that. So talk to people who might be in this place of trying to figure out how to be authentic and share their message in a way that's comfortable for them and build community at the same time.
Oh, you're so good. Wow, good. No, because this is about helping people not repeat our mistakes, right? If we can share something right now that can help someone not repeat 3 months of what we done wrong or we didn't know, now they can make their new mistakes, right? Like, and that's, let me phrase this. You're absolutely right. So to me, it's two things. There's principles, right? The laws of gravity. Right? They don't discriminate, Supermom. If you and I jump off a 10-story building, what happens? We split. It doesn't care age and none of that. So there's principles to business building, success, happiness, harmony, but also equally, it's authenticity. And the best people struggle the hardest to bridge the two. How do I be authentic, be myself, but get the message to resonate as best as possible? And that's the difference between selling and sharing. You and I don't sell, we share. Right. And not to get preachy, but if you want a practical application, every Sunday, if you go to Costco, there's a little old lady with the little sausage on the toothpick. Right. I didn't go in there trying to buy 5 logs of sausage. This lady said hello. And she, we struck up a combo about 5 of these. I ate 5 of these things. I said, that's good sausage. Well, she didn't have to sell me. She said, hey, take a sample of this. And that's how you approach it. If you start with internal clarity, right? Yeah, you're going to feel slow and, oh my goodness, I'm behind the 8 ball, but you're not. Elite operators do this. Elite Olympic athletes do it. So you should do it. And so that's it. Get real with yourself. Principle, right? You can't flap your arms off the building and fly. You got to get a parachute, prepare, right? But never compromise who you are. And that's your superpower. You've never compromised who you are. You just get better at relaying the message. It's like bat symbol. If I throw the bat symbol up, I'm looking for Batman, right? And so that's what Women's Month is. We're throwing the Batman symbol up. We're looking for other women. Birds of a feather flock together, and the men who support those women. So don't forget, men, don't leave. Don't tune the channel. Yeah, and then we'll turn it back around because Supermom knows every day, every holiday, every made-up holiday. We're going to be doing it probably in June. Don't tell nobody. But that's it. I want to see people free. A lot of people are building, whether it's on purpose or not, dependency models. And you and I, that's why we relate and do things. That's why we don't have to talk to be aligned, because we want to build freedom models. We want to build little Tony Robbins factories for those who want to go to that level and meet people where they are. Does that make sense? Or did I just say
I love it. And, to me, it's just a reminder that there's room for everybody at the table. We don't have to step on each other in order to get to the top. We can actually just use a ladder, right? But when you're thinking about coming together, this is a Women's History Month type of collaboration, and there's a lot of men out there that are like they don't know how to integrate into the gender gap. And so you do such a good job with that. What tips would you give them around how they can even support, around a women's history focused collaboration?
Ooh, boy, you just firing them off, Angie. I love it. No quarters. Real talk. Thank you for that. I don't think so. Here's how I do it. Again, maybe this is useful. I hope so. Do it daily, right? So if you show up for a colleague, you know, maybe a female peer or any peer, but if you show up the way you show up behind the scenes, right? Support your spouse, support your business partner, support, you know, other folks. Then it's easy to scale up on a macro level. Does that make sense? So
Yeah.
get more comfortable just saying, you know, men out, listen, don't get mad at me. I'm going to spoil one of the most powerful phrases you can use across the board, but gender neutral. But I've been married about 20 years, right? So how can I best support you? Shut up and listen. Don't be trying to mansplain stuff. And then, you know, and when it's sincere, hey, tell me more. See, that space works for everybody, not just women and men. And so when you demonstrate that and your body language and everything is genuine because you mean it. So in other words, stop worrying about the outward performance and start just saying, hey, my intention is to be present and not to get preachy, but again, practical application. I did that at PodFest. I said, you know what? Instead of trying to wait for the moment to ask for something, everybody's expecting that. I said, I'm just going to give this person space and be. And I'd stop myself. No pitching, no, I'll get something later. Present. And what was the result of that? A text and a phone call, you know, not me, them, 2 weeks later. And I said, hey, great to see you. That was it. And then 2 weeks later, Women's Month, and I had extreme value. So then I texted and said, hey, I got extreme value. I want to give you the first dibs. Can we talk? That's music to people's ears. And what was the result of that? They threw like their best Pokemon, like straight over. So this is what we're talking about. We're not bragging. But we want people to know that you also can pop in. You can do things. If you're a heart-centered person, you don't have to be someone you're not 12 hours out of the day to build a business and make an impact. In fact, I'll argue that it will hurt you rather than help you. So practice the business principles after, okay, you work on internal clarity and getting involved with Women's Month and, you know, Supermom Company, Hounds of Business. That's how you accelerate that growth because you're around people who will support you, but also tell you when you need to be adjusted. That April Wyatt right here in the comments, right? There's all these people in the comments who have been that for me. And all we're looking to do is duplicate, open up that room, and here's your invitation. Because there's nothing wrong with you. That's the problem. Oh, I'm not good enough. We have shame and guilt. Listen, other people do too. We're just better at hiding it. Like, when's the last time you saw somebody on Facebook show the picture of a clogged toilet? So you think you're the only one with a clogged toilet, and that's not the case. So I know I got a little long-winded, but I know that folks feel alone. And if I can open up and say, no, you're not. But admit whatever is happening, pull your head out the sand, get with like-minded people. Boy, whatever you're afraid of, it'll diminish quickly, doesn't it?
I love that. You know, and it's just being approachable. You know, you're bringing up all these things that actually happen in real life behind the scenes that cause us to kind of alienate ourselves or begin that negative self-talk. You know, I was there for 13 years in depression. You know, nobody has it as bad as I do. You know, the woe is me. But when we are able to shine the light on some of those real just excuses that stop us from moving forward, I think, you know, that's where success is and where the change can actually take place. So you mentioned April, and she's amazing with the things that she is doing to support with the Hounds. We also have Baz Porter, who is here. You know, you got to love these different restreaming apps because you can't post everything. You know, it's just like, it's crazy. You do it a certain way, and then some comments you can't show. So I do want to acknowledge that they are both here sharing some great insight around this. And so Baz is saying, do women still need permission in your world? And what are you willing to change so they no longer have to ask for it?
It's a great question. And Baz has been, you know, again, if I would have DM'd Baz, you know, you can't accomplish what we accomplished by just traditional methods. Emails, DMs, we're all numb to it. Why? Because it's nothing about me and it's all about what the other person wants. Horse before the cart is, you know, Baz wasn't looking for us. He just popped in and, oh, hey, you know, and I wasn't looking for Baz. I should have been, but I wasn't. So just showing up, practicing the principles of success, open-mindedness, this is how you do it. And so April, Baz, these people just, you know, and they're here. So then the question is, well, how did they get your attention? Well, they're reciprocating right now. That's it. Like, so when I have an amazing opportunity or a collaboration or a connection to make, yeah, the people who show up is the top of mind. And that's the most fair ecosystem I can think of, because any moment you can incorporate. We're not judging based on monetary status and all of that stuff, and that's fine. We need it, but are you aligned? Are you ambitious? And do you not just say, but do you truly demonstrate? I love to work through people and best interest. I truly love and care about. I'm not perfect. We're going to mess up, but do I really have other people's best interests in heart? Right. And as corny as that may sound, I don't care, because it's extraordinarily profitable, and we've proven that. So again, yeah, absolutely. It's a mindset. Right. And I'm not going to get in the weeds, but it's somebody, a really amazing lady told me the other day. She said, this is kind of a shame we have to have a month. It should be all year round. I said, I agree, but we do. I think it's appropriate to spotlight different things throughout monthly campaigns. And, I value women. Listen, if it wasn't for people like you, Tanya, April, and the whole mix, I'd be homeless, or I would not be making an impact the way I am. I don't care. It's the God's honest truth. And so, to me, it's not about anything but doing what we do for all genders. For all people.
Love that. Yeah. Now, so for people, I really got a lot of my growth from online events. Really, it fast tracked during the pandemic. And so for people who feel like, well, this is just online, it's an online live stream, or, it's on Zoom, what are some tips that you could give them around leveraging that in order to grow their business or just their community?
This is interesting, because there's a lot of strong opinions on this. Oh, you elevate every day, don't you? So two things that I've noticed, and I've done this before, but recently we went to Podfest. All right. So D. Scott Smith, Russ Hedge, right? Kevin Smith, we got the brand Kindness Worldwide. And I've seen this multiple times throughout several years. When you build relationships on Zoom and you meet in person, there's no weirdness. It's not like stranger danger, or I really don't know you. You pick up where you left off. It's phenomenal, to be honest. And so another thing about being online, because after COVID, I said, oh, I'm a people guy. I don't like that virtual stuff. Man. Right. But boy, I don't even go to the gas station anymore. It's kind of sad. I finally got out the house 2.5 years, later in January. But here's what I'm going to challenge you. I love the people around me, right? I am a regular guy, but I can't relate to folks because they still have jobs. They still complain about this and that. And that's not me. I'm not judging it, but it's not me. See, I can pick up and go online and talk to people and all across the world who are like me, right? Me and you have more in common than most people in my neighborhood. Because again, I value values. I value alignment. I want to everybody else is just kind of still in that mode, and that's okay. I was in that mode for 40 years, but when you crawl out of a hole, people tend to want to pull you down because they don't want, you're reminding them that they're just not ready. So it's very important to stop looking at the negativity of, well, it's virtual, and start realizing that you just opened up your neighborhood, just expanded worldwide. And you now have the ability to go out and put that bat symbol up that we talked about and say, wow. I mean, I relate to people in the UK, Georgia, Russia, it's, and I have more in common with them than most people that, in my neck of the woods. And so look at the benefit of that. I mean, shine, like I'll never find a shine in my neighborhood. That's a unicorn, but I found her online, and through relationships. So I hope that helps people. I'm not trying to preach. I just want them to know this is why it is, and then you end up meeting. How many times have you met somebody that you met virtually? I mean, and we're going to plan a Hounds retreat. April White, get ready. Yeah. I mean, next year we're going to do this because
I love that. Because we haven't met in person, and it's like, I only thing I can tell you is that I'm quite short.
Are you really?
Yeah,
you got big personality. That's what you have.
That's what happens, right?
Like
people are like, oh my gosh, you're a midget. But yeah.
Yeah, no, I thought you got powerful presence. I was like, man, Supermom got to be 10 foot tall. Yeah.
I love it. Yes. So, we also are going to, not in addition to the different power partners and
Yeah.
co-sponsors and things of that nature, we are going to be uh, featuring charity. Can you tell us a little bit about that organization that we're going to be supporting through uh, She Wins March Month? That's the
Yeah.
way we say it.
Hashtag She Wins March. You know, woo, long story short, if I ever had one, but one worth telling. Again, you'll hear this in Supermom, your group and your community, our community,
Mhm.
the Hounds of Business, and everyone that's working with us. Extraordinary people. I mean, not to spoil her story, but Shonda Spates of Flourish Foundation Project, her story is absolutely Hallmark worthy, right? It's just
Mhm.
unbelievable.
Mhm.
And she had a great job. She was doing fine, like most people in the Hounds and folks like us. And then life happened, right, in the worst way. So it was so personal, not just for her, but her mission to take that in true Hounds fashion to go out there and help other people in the same boat. So she's all about mental wellness, prevention of self-harm for our youth, right?
Mhm.
And this lady has built from dirt. I mean, Sacrifice City. So it is a privilege and an honor. And I was able to get to become the COO of the Flourish Foundation through relationships. And
Mhm.
so anyway, this is epic. She's got a major event at Lake Placid at the Olympic Training Center, right? ORDA, a lot of
Mhm.
folks are involved, Olympic Regional Development Authority. And this is massive. This is not just talking about, this is the youth will be hands-on, right? She's got apps
Mhm.
forming, so many things. So I couldn't think of a better pick to highlight a woman who practices what she preaches, right? Who is very inspiring and that we can shine a spotlight on so
Mhm.
other people like us go, because the only reason they're not supporting it, they don't know about it.
It's
And
true.
that's the whole point of She Wins March. When
Mm.
you know who they are, they got good hearts, they're amazing people. I'll be honest, she could sell jelly beans. I don't even care at this point. I'm behind her 1 million, and that's the way it is. So yeah, this is a needed thing. Every 11 seconds or every 11 minutes in the US, someone, harms them, and
Yeah.
I'm being careful with social media picks up stuff,
Yeah.
but we have a massive campaign. And again, guys, sharing it was all I had to do. We had a major player come in and throw the floodgates, all
Mhm.
because I said, sorry, I'm late, told him why I was late. He leaned in. Why? Because it was personal to him. He
I love that.
experienced that in his life. And you don't need a sales pitch for that. You just have to go out and have the courage to say, hey, here's what's important to me. Who else can get behind it?
Yes.
So Flourish Foundation, Shonda, folks, she'll be on the shows. 1000% support these ladies. And you know what happens when you support amazing people like this? You want to spoil it for them? You know what happens. You
I
build
know it just really is a domino effect. I mean, there's so much that I cannot even count on my hands how many people get impacted when one just showing up, right? That's the first thing. Showing up in the comments, showing up with sharing. There's just so many small things that you could do that really magnify a message that you couldn't even imagine. So as long
Amen.
as we're all on the same team, that's really what matters. One of
Yes.
the things that I do want to address, because there's a lot of people who feel like women can't work with women or men can't work with women. Just tell us how you navigate through those waters with the Hounds, with that community, that you have a lot of people that are successful in their own right in their industry. So how do you manage uh, everyone working together and that camaraderie?
Woo. Hey, great questions. So, um, humanity first, ideology second. Seriously, we didn't set out to do that. So when you look at someone's character, when you look at someone's alignment with values, if it's man and woman, Filipino, I don't care.
Mhm.
And it's interesting because if you look at the Hounds and well, in your community, if you focus on that, that's universal, right? So people in
Mhm.
all countries of all walks of life, it's universal. You're
Mhm.
kind, you're compassionate, or you're not. It doesn't matter where you were born. So if you
Mhm.
look at that first, the amazing things that happen, you get diversity as a result of, and not just diversity. You get diversity that's aligned, right? And that's what I wanted. And why is that important? Well, for us and community builders and movement leaders and you listening out there, business owners, and people can't always relate to me, right? So they'll look at me and they'll go, they'll have an assumption. That's okay. But what they do is they see shows like this and it generates a curiosity, right? They're like, look at this, because you don't see it every day. And we're programmed. I don't watch the news. That's why I'm a much healthier, happier man. And the news I need to know finds its way to me. I do not need to load up on all this tragedy and then wonder why I have a bad day. So for me, it's say, hey, because we have ultra right, we have ultra left, and we get along. We just don't coexist. We get along. And other organizations have noticed that and they lean into us. And I'm not bragging. I'm saying the reason is humanity first, right? If someone's drowning, I don't ask questions like, well, what gender are you and what political? I go to help that person in need. And if you come equipped with that, and that's who you are, imagine what happens when you get in the room with people like that. I mean, now you're elevating, collapsing time frames. You're pushing people up. You don't have to beg and sell. You just receive and be clear about how they can do it. And that's that's why we're leveling up the hounds. That's why Women's Month is coming around the corner, because it's not about numbers. It's about curating and protecting a room that's special. The rest of the world can do what it wants, but we built Redneck Camelot in this coalition and collaboration for those who go, you know what? I'm sick and tired of the noise. I'm sick and tired of this stuff. I want to get out here, leave a legacy, and live harmony. It sounds, it's messy, but that's our intention. And that's
Now, and then my last question, I could be here all day because you are really dropping some valuable insight for people. If you are watching and, if you have a question, please feel free to put it in the comments, or, we'll be sure to address this, after the show in the comments. But, for people who are trying to prioritize their growth, with creating an impact, you and I were very active in the Hounds together in the beginning when you first started it. And, my business was taking me in different directions, traveling with TV. And then you were building with the Hounds. We've got Tanya, who, she was there in the beginning as well. I was on her show. She was on mine. So for people who are like managing the growth, but still maintaining a relationship. A lot of people don't see the things that we do behind the scenes or conversations that we have. So what tips would you give them around navigating growth, and maintaining relationships to create future collaborations and things of that nature?
Well, excellent question. The way I do it and the way a lot of folks in the Hounds do it naturally and intentionally is the mindset. And what is the mindset? Farming versus hunting. So, for example, and if you go to my profile, hey, shameless plug for me, there is a free engagement guide. And the reason I put that out there is because, again, if you don't dating and marketing, folks, I see no difference. If most people pull the stuff in marketing that I see and they pulled that stuff in the dating world, they all be single right now. So knock it off. So, but here's the mentality. Farming versus hunting. So if I go out there and I'm intentional and I go out there and you put an article up, well, the question is, what do you want? Not what I want. What do you want? So you want me to read it? You want me to engage, say something meaningful, tag somebody like maybe Carrie or April or Baz, and have that combo. Well, in the dating world, that's flirting. I mean, you look at this practically and it makes total sense. So what I'm doing is what I'm saying is, I don't care about outcomes. No, and everybody's like, well, if I do this, I'll get that. That's an equation, but that doesn't work in the real world. Not like this, not for us, not for people like us. Rather, I say, you know what? I'm going to plant a whole bunch of seeds. I'm going to give a whole bunch of value, and about 20 out of 50 will respond. And guess where I spend my time? On the 20. Right. Now, it doesn't mean I ignore the 50, the 30 that didn't. What that means is I put them on the burner. So what that does is that takes the onus off of why didn't they, or do they not like me, right? And you're just throwing them out there. So you're organic, because if people are ready, remember, again, the major problem people have, especially good-hearted people in marketing, is trying to control an outcome. Just throw more seeds out, get better with your clarity, hone in your message. And then, you know what's spoiler alert, Other people will come back later. So while you're doing business today, don't be surprised when you have 5 more people who come into your orbit to be clients, to be collaborators, to refer. Why? Because listen, it's trust deficit. It's the trust deficit. I send out value, but they lump me with everybody else. Well, he's just a better guy at speaking. No, and then it takes them time. So here's what I'm saying, Carrie and folks out there, I'll stop. But I want you to understand this because it's true. When you put out a post on LinkedIn or anywhere, and you're, wow, does no one like it? 99% plus chance that because every time you and them click like or connect, guess what happens? Most of the time you get pitch slapped, right? With a P, pitch slap. And so they're afraid you're going to do it. And when you take the other approach, you just give value and you let it be. If you do that for a couple of weeks or a couple of months, and guess what people do? They say, I don't smell any, you know what? And they start to lean in. And what do they see? They don't see me talk about me. They see me and you talking about other people. They see April Wyatt, people of her impeccable character and reputation, running around, not scripted, not, just happy. It's like throwing a giant party with the door cracked. How do I get invited to that party? Look at those people, man. That's my type of people. So if you're out there trying to bash your square peg in a round hole and force outcomes through all these traditional marketing methods, well, listen, there's your invitation to join Women's Month. And what do? Listen, last thing, when you come into this ecosystem, does the most attractive man and woman at the singles club need a sales pitch? What you got to do? You just have to be. You just show up.
That is so good.
Listen, if you just show up and have a genuine interest like David Manaski, he's the king of that, naturally. And then guess what? Even Les Brown leaned into him. Les Brown, because birds of a feather. He said, wow, look at this authentic man not chasing me around. I mean, that's my interpretation. So you go in and you just do. Right. So 8 people might go, he's not my flavor. And then Supermom goes, oh, my goodness, let me put this guy on the show and laugh for an hour. Right? Guys, let it go. You can have fun. Be yourself. Stop worrying about what other people think, dadgummit. Be you.
It's so true. I love that.
Free yourself from this.
It's true. I mean, that really was the game changer for me when I learned to really embrace who I was and stop the people pleasing and all this other stuff. That's when things change. So Shine is saying, how do we attract others who wish to avoid the noise of business people who are selfish, underhanded, dishonest, and distrustful? We have been talking about this over some time. And, I find that when I just listen clearly to what people are saying, they tell on themselves. They say and do things that I say, I don't think we're quite a good fit. This is what I'm saying to myself, and I just slowly back away. That's been my approach. But what insight would you share about that?
I'm going to borrow from Marcus Aurelius. Instead of spending time debating on what a good man or woman is, be one. Yeah. Be one. And so again, I'm human. Yes, injustice happens to me. People do things, but I have a choice. And I think that's where we forget. Do I have to react or respond? Let me put it this way. And I'm not preaching. I'm just saying, and I have to remind myself of this. Or am I reacting or responding? That's the best way, Shine, that I can address this. So if you ever went fishing and you catch a fish, you throw it back. 2 seconds later, you swear you caught the same fish. And you keep doing that. You're like, yeah, it's the same thing. So the problem you have is that you're reacting. Response is, you know what? This ain't the type of fish I want. This fish keeps biting. I'm going to move around the lake. I'm going to try different bait. I'm going to try different depths. That's how you respond. So stop worrying about what the other people do. It's your interpretation. It's how you respond. Oh yeah, easier said than done. It stinks. But here's what happens. As you said, what's done in dark will be brought to light. I don't have to justify. And I'll give you a practical example. A couple of years ago, negativity and people do what they do. And that's the world we live in. And, again, I got all defensive and, oh my goodness, because I take what I do seriously. Right. And I had some growth to do. Well, what I noticed was a spike in the Hounds membership. Right. And I thought, well, what is that? Well, because we didn't do what most people do. And it wasn't for performance or strategy and manipulation. It was just because that's who I want to be. That's the man I am. And I'm going to practice that even when it's not consistent or easy. And then what happened? The membership spiked. So because why? Because if you say Supermom, I don't like Supermom, Supermom, right? And then I go and look at Supermom and I go, man, she's got some amazing stuff. What Supermom say? She didn't say anything. All I see Supermom doing is pushing up and practicing what she preached. So that's how you, in other words, be an oak tree in a sea of tumbleweeds. Everything else in a hurricane, F5 is everywhere. That one tree might get damaged. You might bend a little bit. You might shed dead weight. But God's honest truth, that's how growth really happens. And your response is what makes the difference. So you got to weather the storm, stand in the oak tree. Yeah, don't be surprised when there ain't too many. And whoever's remaining, the other oak trees, that's who you work with. That's
so good. Very practical and something that we can actually practice. So we have a final question from Baz, and it says, how can you practice precision without becoming hard on yourself?
That's excellent. Two things. You learn, right? So you learn, you try to, people say learn from mistakes. What Baz has helped me understand is learn from other people's mistakes, right? So why would you repeat a mistake if I can, if Baz can say, hey, I've done that. I've drove off the cliff. Don't drive off the cliff. Now that frees me up to compress time frames and make new mistakes, right? So you learn. That means instead of watching kitty meme videos, you can watch philosophy videos. There's tons of people out there like you, and go out there. If you're having problem with other people, then you should be looking, or you could be looking at, videos on the topic. There's experts giving out free information, body language. They're talking about dark triad personality. I mean, there's no shortage of free information that's viable and good. So, and then here's the problem though. There's no shortcutting, no cheat code to doing the hard work. Don't expect not to get scathed, not to be hurt, not to be whooped. Right. And again, back to the last, just practical application. I got whooped. I don't talk negative, but because the subject came up right before you, I got beat up. I put my little bucket hat on and I was all happy. And then I got on a live stream and then I just got destroyed. This guy just beat me to a pulp. And again, I was ready to go. I said, I can't take this. And then you come along. Hey, Mike, how about you come on my show? See what you did there? So that's what I mean. So stop looking narrow. Look, instead of looking down, look that way.
Yeah.
Because here's it. Will this matter in a week, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years? Listen, I'm planning for 200 years of impact.
Amen.
So yeah, I got to do the hard stuff now if I want that later. So yeah, it's real talk to yourself. It's all it is, real talk. And then when you start real talking to yourself, you'll start real talking to others. And then you'll be around people who will encourage and also expect. So great question, Baz.
I love that. And I even want to add with that, when you take time to reflect over what you've accomplished, you realize that you've done a lot more than what you have even imagined because you're still looking forward. A lot of times when we're hard on ourselves, we're thinking, man, I haven't got to that destination yet. I'm still working. But when you start going back and tracking what you've done, it's like, oh my goodness, I have 600 YouTube videos. I'm over here upset about 10 more and I've already got 600, so it's like we miss those moments of patting ourselves on the back and recognizing the things that we have accomplished instead of keep making the goalposts go further and further in the future.
Yeah. And listen, folks, real quick, Lachelle, because you got me going now. So precision, here's the misnomer. And again, I'm talking about heart-centered folks like us. It doesn't work for everyone. But here's the thing. Stop concerning yourself with precision first. Horse before the cart. I had a young lady send out a message the other day. It was bold. It was different. She was fresh. And she's not trying to sell trinkets. She's moving a movement. She's trying to attract conservation efforts. And so she put this video out and she said, what do you think? I said, it's perfect. Well, it's not perfect. Well, no, it's not technically perfect. But are you going to attract people to save the trees by a technically proficient email that they didn't ask for? Or are you going to attract that kind of heart by what? By heart. You attract heart with heart. So here's what I'm trying to say. Lead with heart. Be crusty because that's believable. Have you noticed that people are taking old school selfie videos like it's like 2002? Because we can't, yeah, that's real. And here's what the great part, Carrie, here's what happens. When you do that, you become better. You do become more precise and polished. And then you never lose your authenticity. See, when you try to polish, now people aren't really buying it. So go out there with your little crusty self, amplify, accelerate. You'll never lose your heart, and you will become a better orator. And now you attract more people and scale up. And you've mastered that. I don't even know if you see how many, like, I just described you, Lachelle.
I appreciate that. Hey, I want my head to stay on the screen. I don't want it to get too big while we're talking.
It's well earned. It's not flattery. Listen, I see negativity all day long. So when I have somebody because we all talking here negative.
Yeah.
So when I see positive, when I see goodness, I'm going to shout. I don't care how weird I look. I don't care if they misinterpret it as flattery.
Mm-hmm.
It's real. You have impacted so many lives because you didn't worry about vanity metrics. You concerned yourself with impact. And now, because of this energy, we're all going to get more visibility and not heart. So I can't wait. I hope you do get more clients. That's the point. I hope all these, I Am Magazine, April White, living in, yes, because people out there are spending money on stuff they don't understand. And our job is to educate, because what happens is that people come into a new game, entrepreneurship, and they lose money. They lose enough money, they lose heart. And they lose enough heart, they quit. And then we sit back and wonder, why is inequality and, homelessness and, because the men and women like us who are willing to take the hits drop out before we make things happen. Because we don't have the people, resource, support. So that's why Women's Month, She Wins March is so important to me and to you and everyone else, because we get you. We're not,
I love that. Yeah.
We're not alone. There's strays out there. There's strays running around looking for home and welcome home. Test drive it. And if it's not for you, we're not going to chase you around. We're going to say, bring Sally here. And I tell people that, well, Mike, the hounds ain't for me. Wonderful. Are you upset that I didn't chase you around and pester you? And no, well, then bring Sally. Because at the end of the day, I'll stop. At the end of the day, folks, here's the secret weapon. Here's the authentic, real weapon. When somebody makes an introduction and comes into my orbit, the God's honest truth is this. Will they like me better? So if Lachelle sends me somebody, here's what I want. They like Lachelle the same or better because they made the intro. I want them to come back regardless of the outcome and say, you know what, Lachelle? Fantastic. I learned about Mike. I learned about the hounds. It wasn't for me. What'd he do? He respected my time, said thank you, supported me, and left me alone. If that resonates with you, sign up for Women's Month immediately and join this party and join the networking and the live streams once a month, once a week. That's how you network. You can do far more, far less.
Yeah. So Curtis says, lead with heart, be crusty. There's a bumper sticker right there. I love it. Yeah. So how can people, get on board with this? What are some ways that they can support, for this Women's History Month collaboration?
Participate. Number one, sign up. We're going to have a landing page either done today or so look at me and Supermom, follow us, connect with us. That's the best place. You can also go to Hounds of Business. You got Supermom, America's Supermom. Go to our channels. We'll be posting in the comments and keeping you up to date. The second way is to tag and share. If you see something of value in someone else that belongs at the party, tag them. They're not going to get sales pitches. Here's spoiler alert. Here's what they're going to get. Real dynamic conversations to get to know you. That's how we do it. All right. And then share and support. Show up. Yeah, listen. Do I have to be on camera? I'm not a police state. Listen, you do whatever you need to do, because here's the God's honest truth. Trust first, not a moniker. All right. Yeah. And so we want you to feel comfortable. You want to be a little shy Nelly with your camera off, then by God, you go ahead and do that. All we care about is that you sample that Costco sausage we talked about. Take a couple samples. If you see value, lean in. Right. If you don't, man, go tell Sally or Melissa or whoever you got over there, and that's it. And no expectations. But here's a spoiler alert: you're going to find value. You're going to see a ton of value. You're going to see a bunch of stuff, and but you're free to choose. Remember, we build freedom, not dependency. That's our
I
mantra.
love that. Yeah. A couple of things that come to mind for me is that, really community allows you to do it scared because as a lot of us go through life cycle growth with our businesses, we're challenged to get out of our comfort zone. And
Mm.
so that's one of the reasons why we're really attracted to having a community event. But another way that people can participate is a lot of times we write articles or newsletters and we feel like we're not getting a lot of traction. Reach out to us because if you have articles related to the topics that we're going to be covering with the live stream, it'll be a great way that we can highlight some of those important messages during those live streams. So,
Yeah.
can you highlight what the different live streams, the topics that we're covering, just so people can be aware?
Oh, you're going to put me on blast now. I love it. So the live streams, folks, and when you sign up on the landing page, and it'll be on my features section, so you'll be able to access it on LinkedIn easily.
Mhm.
But when you come in here, we're going to have four live streams. So it's every Wednesday at 7 to 8 U.S. Eastern time.
Mhm.
Every Wednesday of March. We're going to actually, the pre-show with Kindness Worldwide and hit the high-level Heart Center ambassador women of that movement, right? We're honored to be working with them. And so leadership, we have parenting, right? So anything that has to do with professional women who are juggling a 50 million balls, right? And, some of their tactics and experiences that they can share, because come on, we're not the only ones, right? And then we have a hormone sustainability show. I think that's week 2.
Mhm.
And then finally, we have collaboration as a cheat code, which absolutely you're in, number 1, because that's it. That's it. I did not, all the things you saw us do, Podfest, the compound effect that helped people with Podfest, all these, Kindness Worldwide, Genius Network, we can go on and on. They didn't come from traditional means. They came from trusted warm relationships. Someone else said, you know what, that Lachelle, perfect. She's great.
Mhm.
Well, I mean, again, back to dating, right? Hey, I trust you. So if you're going to say I should talk to this guy or this woman, it's probably a good call, right? Like you amplify. So that's it. I want people to go in and network, ask good questions, because here's what happens, Carrie. Here's what happens, Sean. When we go out there, then I say, who's that person? We go backstage. Supermom, I'm spoiling it, I know, but they need to hear it. When we go off set and we get back behind stage after a live stream, how many times does it happen? We're like, who is that? Right? You just caught the attention of the guest, because you brought value, because you asked good. Look at, you see what Baz is doing? Yeah, there you go. He's in the discussion. He's not talking about him. He's asking about us.
Yeah.
That's the most attractive stuff you could do. And it's real though. See, he don't do it and not be real. That's the problem. We smell it. If everybody smells, you know what. But be curious. So when you come into the live streams, talk, share, all right, be a part of the discussion, and you will get noticed by the right people.
Love that. I mean, that is just great. I mean, you summed it up really well. And want to give a special shout out to all the hounds of business who have been supporting during this live stream, and continue to share it. I mean, because it is important for us to model ways that we can collaborate and everybody can win. I think that's a cliche that many people say, but it's few and far between people that actually practice it. So when you find people that are, continue to go right along with them. Really appreciate everybody and their support and everything that they've been doing. Follow Mike on LinkedIn and Facebook and all the other places where he is. Again, we will be having a landing page available. So reach out to us. If you have questions, don't just listen to other people. Come directly to us. I mean, because we're just open book regarding this collaboration, and we would love to have more people on board to support for Women's History Month. Any final thoughts that you want to add, Mike, before we go?
Yeah, listen, people always, well, what if this ain't for me? What if this is the only mantra, and this is not a preachy thing. This is just something that held me back for 40 years. So, and I'm not the only one, can't be. I used to say yes and no to stuff before I knew what I was saying yes and no to. And that's all I ask people. Listen, if you have all the information, because that's what Lachelle and I and all these partners are about. We want to make sure you get it. When you have all the information, now you can make a wise or unwise decision, right? And that's what we're talking about. So when you say no to something, let it be no, and that's okay. But make sure, I'm just telling you, don't repeat my mistakes. Make sure you get the information and then make an informed decision. And this is what this is. Hey, is this the right room? And here's my thing, folks. If you tell me, hey, not for me, I'll walk you somewhere that is. I walk people to opposite camps. I don't judge the camps. If they're honest, I'm good with them. But I'll walk them out and say, listen, you come over here. These guys like to, and all that. It's fine. So we want you to get in where you fit in. We don't sell bald people haircuts. That's it. You might be happy bald and you might have a wig in the hat shop. Right? We're going to put you where you fit in. That's our promise, because it's not about us. We'll have enough people come and engage and do business with us, because we are going to say, nope, you need Supermom, or you need Tanya, or you need whoever. And then you know what happens? They come back with what they needed, and now we can do business. So if that appeals to you, you DM us. Don't be shy. Right. And test us. Oh, I bet he's going to DM me. Well, you can wait for here till the cows come home. You ain't going to see it, because that's not our style. But anytime you decide to engage, hey, your invitation doesn't have an expiration date, folks. It's all about your timing and your alignment.
I love that. I love what Baz says. He says empires were not built on what if. This is true. You got to do the work. You got to take the action. You got to show up. And lock arms with those people that help to support you on that journey. So thank you so much, Mike. This is a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to us collaborating again here throughout the month of March. And so I encourage anybody to, stop trying to be somebody else, be yourself, and just show up, because there's plenty of ways that we can all collaborate and lift each other up.
And if you don't know who that is, that's okay. We have people who are doing that. We have people who have been there, and we have a group call. That's it. Group call is because I don't want to waste an hour of your time. If you listen to me in a group call for 10 minutes and you don't like it, you're welcome, because I don't want to waste your time. Go to Lachelle, maybe. So that's it, folks. That we want, you don't have to be perfect before you engage. That's why we built this room. People right now are getting elevated because they're coming in and they're in safety. Nobody's judged. We got April Wyatt, right? The least most judgmental lady on the planet. And she's going to be pushing you up and helping you. So here's the redneckism. I'm sorry. We're going to be the Gail to Oprah's. Could you imagine being Gail before Oprah was Oprah? That's what we've created together, Supermom. Go in there and push up future Oprah and see, because everybody asks, well, how did you get this? And how did Kindness Worldwide? And the God's honest truth, folks, practice this. We did it because I believed in him before other people believed in him. You believed in me, Supermom, when other people went, that guy's nah. And you said, I see something special. Tanya Eberhard did it. All the fine folks, Shine. It goes on and on. Curtis Rivers, Baz. Why wouldn't you want to be a part of that? That's our invitation. So stop believing the world. All right. Yeah. They're not all right. Just because the majority might say it doesn't mean they're correct. That's it.
That's true. Love that. Well, look, this was supposed to be a 30-minute show, and it ended up being 53 minutes. So we appreciate everybody's time, and really it could be longer. Okay. But some great points. Really appreciate you guys from the Hounds engaging and sharing your insights. If you do have any questions and the live stream is over, put them in the comments, because we definitely will be addressing those, and looking forward to connecting with everybody. So have an amazing weekend. Stay tuned for the landing page and everything for She Wins March. Bye, everybody.
Hi, I'm Lachelle Atkins, also known as America's Supermom, and I am excited about Go Shop America. This is an opportunity for small business owners to be able to feature their products on TV. So if you are looking for an affordable way to distribute your products, and if you're a consumer looking to buy the hottest trends, then I tell you to follow us at Go Shop America.